cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. The cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. The cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with CyberSense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP Radio Show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP Radio Show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with CyberSense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP Radio Show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP Radio Show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with CyberSense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP Radio Show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP Radio Show. Hey, the cyber people are on the
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Clifford from the Cyber People, and I'm thrilled to be here with you tonight for this very special live stream, kicking off right now at 6 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. We're coming to you live from Barbados, and we're excited to talk about some crucial training coming up at the 2026 Caribbean Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity Summit. Before we dive in, let me just go over some quick house rules for our YouTube stream. To ensure a valuable and engaging discussion for everyone, we'll be using subscriber-only chat. This helps us to cut down on the spam and the bots and allow for more meaningful interaction. You might also notice a slight delay in chat, and that is for the same reason, to keep things smooth and secure. As the producer and the moderator for this session, I can tell you we also have some other fantastic moderators in the chat right now, and they're ready to answer your questions or highlight them to our guests. So please don't hesitate to engage. We're broadcasting this stream on 3 channels tonight: the Digital Technologies and Services YouTube page, the Caribbean Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity Summit YouTube page, and right here on the Cyber People YouTube page, which will be our main hub for this session. We encourage you to stay subscribed to these channels after the stream so you can be informed of any upcoming or latest news, updates, anything like that from the various entities. So, who are the Cyber People? We are a startup right here on the island of Barbados, and our core focus is on the human element of cybersecurity. We believe that empowering people with the knowledge is key to building a stronger defense against cyber threat. And that's why we're specializing in providing comprehensive cybersecurity awareness training. Tonight, we'll be promoting a vital training course, the IACIS CIFR, or Cyber Incident Forensics Response. This intensive training is scheduled for, well, next year, August 2026 at the Caribbean Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity Summit. It's an incredible opportunity to gain critical skills in a rapid evolving field. You can find more information about this special training in the link that we provide in the chat or in this description. For anyone interested in getting more information about the training and to receive notifications when registration officially opens at a later date, you will find a pre-registration link in the description and in the chat shortly. And to help us unpack why this training is so important and to guide us through tonight's discussion, I am absolutely delighted to introduce our guest host for this evening. He is the CEO and Senior Consultant for Digital Technologies and Services, a true leader in the field and a good friend. Please welcome Mr. Neil Hinds. Mr. Hinds.
Good evening to all. Thank you for being here. Before we go into the nitty-gritty and the good stuff, I'd like to introduce three esteemed gentlemen that we have on this call today. First, Mr. Steve Williams, a pioneer for the Caribbean. I will allow him to introduce himself fully and give you his background. But he was one of the pioneers of bringing digital forensics and cybersecurity to the Caribbean region, and this is going back to 2009. Also, we have here with us tonight Mr. Scot Bradeen, another pioneer who has been in the field for years along with Steve, and he was also one of the first instructors to introduce digital forensics and cybersecurity training in the Caribbean. And last but not least, Mr. Sean Boero, who we have to give special thanks for because he was the conduit of getting us in contact with IACIS to bring this invaluable training opportunity, the first of its kind for the Caribbean. So before going to the nitty-gritty again, let me allow Steve, Scott, and Sean to further introduce themselves.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Steve Williams. I've been working with Neil for about 15 years now and had the honor and the pleasure of working in the Caribbean since the mid-2000s. A little about myself, got my start in government working for one of the national security agencies. Been traveling internationally for the past 20 years. Had the honor and pleasure of working in over 50 countries, along with Sean and Scott and Neil, and look forward to providing any services that I can. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I would guess it's evening for everyone that's listening. My name is Scot Bradeen. I've been in digital forensics since approximately 1997. I was in law enforcement in the state of Maine for 20 years and started working with the U.S. Department of State ATA's program in 2006. In regards to IACIS, I've been a member since approximately 2000. I think it was 2000 or 2001 I became a member, so been in the program for a long time. As mentioned earlier, I've been with the ATA program, working with law enforcement around the world, and have had the pleasure of working in the Caribbean over several years with Neil and Steve, and I'm looking forward to working with you all again in the future.
Yes, and my name's Sean Boero. I was a New Jersey State Trooper for 25 years. I finished up as the unit head of cyber crimes in 2012. Got involved with digital forensics back in 2004 when I went to the Regional Computer Forensic Lab in New Jersey and acquired my FBI Forensic Examiner certification. First went to IACIS in 2005, went back to IACIS in 2016, and I have their big 3 certifications. Great training, great organization, totally made up of volunteers. Really the biggest subject matter experts in the world. And I've been with the ATA program as a contract trainer with Scott and Steve for 2 years now.
Great. See, we have esteemed gentlemen here with over nearly 30 years of service and experience that you have at your hands. So For me, my background started from when I was a police officer for 11 years in the Royal Barbados Police Force, and then was at the embassy where I had the opportunity of meeting with Steve Scott, working with building the capacity for the Caribbean region. So I'm a avid digital forensics examiner and love the cybersecurity field because I believe in protecting our future and the future for our children. So without further ado, let's get into the nitty gritty of this YouTube, this podcast tonight. And this is to bring you the latest and newest training possibilities for the Caribbean region. And this is with the assistance of IACIS, which is the International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists. Now, these are one of the most sought courses that they have in demand right now. And most of these courses are usually either in the US or Europe, and now they're opened up Asia. So having this possibility of bringing the cyber incident forensic response certification training, which is a 2-week training program, to the shores of the Caribbean, it is phenomenal, and it is like it has me feeling so overwhelmed that we are able to bring this. But for you to fully understand what this course has to offer to you as an individual, I want us first to think about you yourself. I want us to think about what benefit is for you personally, and then how is it going to benefit your organization. But first, you have to understand how it's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit you to bring not only capacity to yourself, but it's also going to give you that opportunity to expand your knowledge, to expand how cyber instances occur, and expand your knowledge on how you can investigate them, how you can protect not only your personal infrastructure, but your agencies or your organization infrastructure. Because they're saying by 2027, the global cost of cyber crimes is going to be about $12.43 trillion, not billions, $1 trillion is going to cost cybersecurity incidences and businesses. So we have to take the proactive approach. We have to take the proactive approach now by training ourselves, given that opportunity for us to understand the phases of an incident response cycle, to understand the key techniques for collecting and preserving that evidence that you're collecting, the strategies for effective incident containment, because it's not a matter of if, when, and where. It's a matter of it is going to happen. It is not going to if it's going to happen. It is going to happen, because we have that niche within ourselves to think that it's not going to happen to the Caribbean, but it is going to happen to the Caribbean. And it started happening already, as you're aware, because some agencies within the Caribbean have been constantly being attacked because of most likely human errors. So we have to understand these strategies for effective incident containment and eradication eventually, because once you contain it, you have to get it out of your system. And then we have to understand how to conduct a thorough post-incident, because when an incident occurs, we have to understand how it occurs so that we don't allow it to occur again. So we have to do that thorough post-incident analysis and reporting, because at the end of the day, we have to minimize the impact to our organization. We have to minimize the impact to ourselves personally. So we have to look also at the importance of the legal considerations. We all know that some businesses will not want to expose their vulnerabilities. We get that. But what are the legal, complications to it? So these are the things that we are going to be discussing on how you as an individual will work with these areas and how you can benefit by taking this course. I think Steve has to has to jump up for a little bit because he has another meeting. I don't know, Steve, want to punch in on anything that I've said so far to kind of get us going, since that you have to leave, Steve? Just let me know. If you don't, I can discontinue.
Just go ahead and continue. I'm sorry. Just continue.
Okay, cool. All right. So the phase one of understanding the phases of an incident report, incident response life cycle, is the first thing is preparation. These are one of the key things that we need to understand is being prepared. And prepared does not only mean just running simulation exercises or doing training at a ad hoc period. It starts with policies. We have to understand that if you're in a business or even yourself personally, you have to set your own policies and guidelines. And that is key number one. Because if we have policies in place, we'll be able to then start to mitigate certain surprises or certain incidences that may be occurring in your system. Even you as an individual. Each day we create our own little policy. We create a policy of what we do when we get up to when we leave the house. We check our doors, we check our alarms, we do this, we do that. It is the same thing in the business environment. It's just that these are written policies on how to be cyber resilient. Written policies in terms of how do you interact with the network system. So this is key number one. Key number one is how do you interact with your network system? Do you bring your own device and plug it in? That is a no-no. Unless you're plugging it into a sandbox away from your network. So these are the type of policies that are needed to be implemented. And this is key number one for the training that's coming up as well. How do we create these policies? Why are these policies necessary? But flowing off of the policies, part of your preparation as well is your training. You have to be trained, because back in the day, we were thrown into the internet world without proper training, without saying, hey, how do we navigate this internet platform without compromising ourselves? We were never taught that. So part of your preparation as well is policies along with training. Critically important. Now, training is not just 1 day training, 2 day training. Training is continuous training, because technology evolves rapidly day by day, hour by hour, second by second. So if you do not continue to keep your training apparatus up, you're going to eventually fall behind and then create that sense of vulnerability within your network system. And then the tools. So we have different tools that are going to enable your preparation process as well as your mitigating process and looking at your vulnerabilities. So these tools are part of your preparation phase. So when we look at preparation is not just writing one policy and call that a day, but continuously updating those policies, continuously doing the training, continuously looking at new tools and services that are out there that are reputable. Because again, we have some businesses or some people that will create tools that are not reputable. So there may be tools that are actually infecting your systems. And these are the things that we have to be careful of during our preparation phase. The next phase that we have to look at is identification. We have to be able to detect and confirm the incident through monitoring and alerts. So all of this is understanding the phases. So the identification, how do we identify these incidences? Where do we go look? Do we go look in the logs? Do we go look at the person who brought in the device? Do we check the scanners at the entrance to the business? No, there are tools, again, going back to the preparation phase, there are tools that are actually going to be monitoring your network for any intrusion or anything that looks abnormal. So these are part of your understanding of the phases for incident response life cycle. Oh,
Let me just add one other thing to that, Neil. Is an important phase, an important aspect of that of the detection is having your personnel trained and aware of what anomalies to look for and how to properly report them. Because a lot of times if an incident is taking place, is due to the abnormalities that the users are experiencing.
good point. So you see, it's not just a one-stop shop. It is you have to be able to get all your personnel trained to identify as Steve said. So this is part of your training process for that's coming up with the IACIS next year. All of this, along with more that we're going to be talking about, is going to be is what you're going to be training on for those 2 weeks and those 8 hours a day. It's very intense. There's a certification part of it as well. But let's continue. And guys, feel free to jump in anytime, because this is us informing the Caribbean. It's not only a one-man show. So anytime you feel like jumping in, go ahead and jump in and continue the good podcast that we'll be working for the entire Caribbean. So once we identify, and this is still in phase number 1, understanding the phases of the incident response cycle, we have to look at the containment. So this training is going to teach you on how you're going to be able to contain that incident, how you're going to be able to take that containment then and eradicate it from your system. So looking at the limited scope that you have, and you have to also look back at your policies. How do we contain this incident, and what impact it has on the business environment or on your own personal environment? Because again, we're not only talking about your business environment, we're talking about your own personal environment. When you get an incident of a cyber attack on you personally, how do you contain it? How do you work on it? So again, this training, although it's business oriented, it is going to be able to give you your own support, your own personal support in terms of how do you navigate as a person. And then you take that knowledge and you replicate it with your peers, but also within your family units, because it's very critically important that we try to minimize impact on personal lives by explaining certain things to our peers and our family members. So not only look at the business, but look at yourself whenever you're going through these training events as well. So after you got that containment in, and then you did your eradication, you're not eradicating what you have found on the surface. And this is where training and this is where the tools come into play. You have to find the root of that specific incident. So you may find it, let's say, in a user log, that a user click on a link, but you have to find the root to where that link was intended or is resident. Because if you find that root, you are removing during your eradication process every single piece of data or infection from the root. So you're not only taking it from the surface, you're taking it from the root to get that eradication process out and get your system back to where it's supposed to be. But again, during that eradication process, you have to understand that these infections run either parallel, so you have to look at it from a parallel point of view, or to also run in the other direction. So you have to look at those the roots where this incident occur, how it occur, so that you can not only contain it, but when you're eradicating it directly out of your system altogether. And then you have to look at the recovery process. So the recovery now is going to be a lot more intense in a sense, because you have to restore all your systems. And this is where policies again come into play. Because if you have policies in place to say, well, when we get an incident response, when we get an incident, we do our response, we do our containment, but do we have a backup of our systems?
Could I add something real quickly,
Sure.
Neil?
Sure, go ahead. Yes.
So this is a very complex and multi-layered response that you'll be learning. And to give you an idea of just how important this is, last week, the state of POE in Brazil, the state government was under a ransomware attack, took down the entire state government. And just to give you an idea of the impact of their failure to prepare and have personnel ready and capable of identifying, containing, remediating, and then addressing for further advancement. I just learned that they're paying a private company to come in to the tune of $40,000 US to try to deal with a ransomware attack. And to be completely honest, their probability of actually getting through that and getting their data back is going to be basically zero, from what I understand, because they have failed to prepare. They don't have backups that are contained, so they're going to be in big trouble. They're going to probably end up having to pay the people ransom to get their data back. So this is why the importance of this whole training, and it isn't just a 2-week course, is not going to make you an expert. It's going to be involving several different courses to build a base, a standard to work off of, to train people on how to properly respond, to find out what happened, how it happened, and then to determine what's the best remediation strategy. And then, of course, after that, as Neil's getting to next, is after you've remediated, what you recovered your data, or you've responded to the incident that occurred, what can you do to prevent it from happening again? So it is a huge cycle, and it is. I just want people to realize that this is the beginning of the training. And that training can be quite extensive, and it is also going to be multi-layered. So there are going to be some people who are going to be focused on certain areas, and other people are going to be focused on other areas, because 1 to 5 or 10 or 20 people may not necessarily be enough, depending on the size of the organization that you as the person providing that service can handle. So just want to throw that out.
Excellent, excellent. No, this is what we're talking about. You see how it flows? How it flows from point 1 to point 2 to point 3 to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. This is critically important because, as Scott said, it's a multi-layer approach. It's very multi-layer approach. And then we also have to look at what lessons we learned. So after we do all that recovery phases that Scott was just talking about, we gotta look at our lessons. We have to look at, see what occurred, when it occurred. What can we do to mitigate and make sure that this doesn't happen again? Is during your lessons learned phases. So these are the type of things that you're going to be learning throughout, not only in the 2 weeks, as Scott said, but continuous training. Because remember, it's said in point 1, the training aspect has to be continuous. It cannot be just one-stop shop. It has to be continuous, not only because of the evolving technology and the evolving threats, but because everything for you is not just a one-stop shop. It is multi-layered. Things are going to keep happening. So you have to learn from your lessons. So when we do that first phase of understanding the phases of the incident response life cycle, we go look at the key techniques of collecting and preserving the digital evidence. Well, this is very, very important. We all have to understand this. Cyber investigations and cyber instances are cross-border. There's not only one specific country this is going to affect. It's cross-border. So it's limitless. The borders are limitless when it comes to cyber incidences. You may think that the incident only occurred to you,
But that same incident was replicated in 3 or 4 other businesses in other countries. It may have been investigation may have started by the Interpol agency, and they have a multinational connection with all countries through the Interpol agreement. So you preserving that evidence may not be only preserving that evidence for you personally, but you may have to preserve that evidence for other investigations in other countries. And there's a certain protocol that has to be in place for you collecting that evidence, because the evidence, once it's collected, cannot be contaminated. Because if it's contaminated, it means the evidence is out through the door. And then who's really benefiting? Who's really going to, who's really going to suffer? The victim. Because if we can't get the containment, the collection done properly, it means that the real victim is going to be at loss. They're not going to feel comfortable again using your business. So,
All right, and the collection of the data is the foundation for everything.
Yes.
As it is, in my experience of having worked like Steve in many, many different countries around the world, is consistent, is if the evidence is not collected properly, it will not be accepted by the court. So if you're looking to possibly prosecute an individual for the attack that you had on your network, then if you have to collect the data correctly so that it can be used by the courts. So the initial course that we're looking at now is the response, how to properly respond, identify the scene, identify possible evidence sources, collect that evidence in a correct manner in an international standard so it can be used by court wherever the suspect may be located, whether it be in the Caribbean, in the United States, Canada, Latin America, Europe, wherever it may happen to be. The standards that have been created since IACIS first started have been and adopted by the majority of law enforcement around the world, are built that way for that reason, so that it can be used, whether it be through Interpol or by directly by the courts in Barbados if the suspect is there, or by the suspect being in England, let's say.
Sean, you want to jump in there? Because I know you do a lot of evidence collection.
Yeah, I do. I sure do. So number one check off, are you legally justified to do what you're being asked to do? To seize a phone, to examine a phone, to extract data. And then, of course, this course, CIFR, I'm looking at all the description from IACIS. Do you have the technical ability to do what you need to do, right? When you walk up to a live computer right now, first thing you should do is take a picture of the screen and grab the BitLocker encryption key. Then you're going to grab RAM, or you're not going to grab RAM with software or GUI software. You're going to do it with a command line so you don't get a blue screen. So there's so many elements, but the number one is, are you legally justified in doing this? Then number two, do you have the technical skills and equipment to actually recover this data? And I'm looking at the CIFR description on IACIS's website, and this is a 2-week intense, robust course from really the best people in the world, all volunteers.
If I could just add one more quick thing to that, Sean, to add on to what he said, all those things are very important, but also it's extremely important that the person who's doing the collection can clearly describe in both technical and in layman's terms what they did and why they did it the way they did. And that's part of this training as well.
So there you go. The two guys from IACIS going back and forth from all the years of experience. Doesn't matter that Scott and Sean can figure it out, and certainly Steve and Neil can figure it out and understand it. You have to be able to explain it to a lay jury. You have to be able to explain it to a legal judge and prosecutors who may not be technically skilled. So a lot of uses of analogies, a lot of hands-on, show me type of demonstrations with virtual machines and things of that nature.
One other key thing that we always have to do, no matter what, is you have to document every single step you took. Every single step you took with document, not only saying I did this, this, or this, but the time you did it. Because your time on your clock may not be the time on the clock of the system that you're interrogating. So you have to be able to document what you saw on the as a clock on the system, as well as the clock that you have on your watch as to when you're really taking the evidence and going into the evidence of the Pacific system. So documentation is also very, very key and is very, very important. Not only what you saw, but your time, the time that you are actually doing the interrogation. Not only at the scene, but when you're actually doing the analysis as well. So when you start your analysis and when you finish your analysis is critically important for the documentation aspect. And those are the very key techniques that you'll be learning during the IACIS course as well. So, and again, Sean and Scott hit all the very key points. To avoid that contamination, the time synchronization, the volatile data capture. Do we take that memory down? Do we have enough storage space to take that memory down? That is some of the things that you have to consider when you're doing an incident response as well. And this is what will be taught during this training session in August next year. So once we have those key techniques governed in the course, we then go on to the strategies for the effective incident containment and eradication. These are the kind of things that have to look at after you've done your analysis, after you've done your containment. Is you have to look at the short term, the long term, and the root cause analysis. These are the things that you will be started to look at and study during your training period. And then obviously with the policies in place, you have to look at your communication, how you're going to communicate this again with all the analogies, and you got to be able to communicate effectively and efficiently. So Sean and Scott brought up those very two key points. Is can you do it? Not only by sitting in front of the computer and punching those buttons, but can you communicate it? So these are very key to developing you as a cyber incident forensic response person.
Well, there's one other point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one other point before I forget it. One of the benefits to us, now we're sitting here chit-chatting virtually, and we're popping ideas off of each other, and Scott comes up with a better idea to Steve, and then Steve comes up with a better idea to Sean. We are constantly, continually doing that. One of the, I think, biggest benefits to IACIS is, first of all, it's all volunteers. You have subject matter experts from all over the world. And the listserv. So there is a connection. You have 2,000 friends, subject matter experts from all over the world. So if you encounter a problem that you just don't understand, you can kick it out to the listserv, and you can get the owners of companies and the subject matter experts from all over the world answering your question. And they do. We see that, Scott and I see that every single day.
Hey guys, I apologize. I have to run for another meeting. On my sincere apologies. Unexpected event came up. So I wish I'm so fascinated by the topic and so fascinated to contribute, but unfortunately I have to run. I look forward to the next session. I was certainly, barring some unforeseeable event like today, I will definitely attend the next session and be ready to contribute.
Hey, Steve, thanks a lot for being here in the first place.
Thank you.
We know you're a very busy man. Don't worry.
Yes, my apologies. I would love to stay longer. This is so fascinating topic, and we could definitely talk about this for days, as we have on many occasions. But unfortunately, I cannot stay any longer. So I look forward to working with you guys and talk with you guys again soon.
Always good seeing you, bud.
Absolutely,
Take care,
guys.
Steve.
Thank you, guys.
So let's continue. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to
Scott.
add one other thing in regards to IACIS is one of the major benefits that I see with IACIS, especially their training, is that IACIS is not tool specific. So you don't have to own Magnets, Axiom, you don't have to own Encase, you don't have to own any of the particular big name brands. You could use whatever tool you wish as long as you come to the same end result, which is the proper and complete collection that you can of whatever data you need to, and then further analysis of that data to meet the standards that you need. So I've always thought highly of IACIS in that aspect. Their certifications, you continue through with their training, and you go to get their CFCE or their Windows Certified Examiner, their mobile device examiner training certifications. They're all use whatever tool is available to you. So I think that is a huge benefit, because if you can do it, if you can collect the data, analyze the data, and report the data and explain the data, it doesn't matter what tool you're using.
Yeah, that's spot on, Scott, because the data is the data. So you use an automated tool, so everybody understands what we're talking about. We collect the data, and then these automated tools, like Scott mentioned, Axiom or Belkasoft or Encase, go through that data and collect artifacts. They collect information about the data. But the IACIS's teaching is always drilling down into the actual hex, into the data itself. So you can verify and validate it using multiple tools, and also do it manually. When you get good enough, you could actually just take it, start looking at the hex yourself and decoding it yourself. Yeah, great point, Scott.
So, guys, we talk about hats, but what's really hats, right?
Yes.
Is the ones and zeros. Because again, we gotta understand, people, that computers communicate in ones and zeros. So as we are talking here right now, all that's being converted by the CPU to ones and zeros. And then that's being stored in ones and zeros. But when we look at it, we have to be able to use the hex values and decode them to get the actual data. So very good points in terms of the intricacy of IACIS. They don't teach you push button forensics.
No, they don't. You will
They
work.
don't teach you push button forensics. They teach you the real forensics. They teach you the nuts and bolts to forensics. So you have to learn how to convert those ones and zeros with those hex values into the natural data that, as we are speaking right now. So you can see for a fact, when the document says this dog ran through the door, all that is in ones and zeros, and when you decode it, it's going to decode and give you that sentence. So again, folks, that is the critical nature of IACIS training, is the in-depth training is not push button forensics. So understanding that part is also key for when you're doing this course, is that it is very intense.
I describe it as this. I could give you let's say you're a carpenter. I could give you the most high-tech, expensive power miter saw on the market. If you don't know how to use it properly, you're still going to get terrible results when you try to cut up your materials. So it's understanding the basis and understanding the underlying technologies that you need to know makes you so much better at what you do. The tools may automate it, make it a little bit easier for you to do it, but you still ultimately are going to have to explain to someone your findings. And just because, oh, the tool found this for me, that is not accepted by the court. It's definitely not going to be accepted by a smart defense attorney.
I'm glad you just said that, because now, I review cases a lot, and because Celebrate said so is not an acceptable answer, right? I mean, that's not. I'm sure Celebrate is right most of the time, but because Celebrate said so is not going to get you through a court proceeding.
That's right.
Yeah, great stuff. So that's what we're talking about in this session, folks. And at the end of it all, once we've done all our analysis, once we've done our training, etc., it is reporting it. and Sean and Scott touched on this earlier, is how we report it and how valuable your report is going to be. So your report has to be top notch because, again, these crimes are borderless. So your report of your findings may go as far as England, North America, Alaska, all over, anywhere in the world that you can think about, because there's a possibility that the same incident that occur in your system is the same incident occur in another business in another country. So it's very critically important that you understand how to report, and not only report your findings, but report your post-incident analysis. So at the end of the day, this is the type of course that when you take it, you're not just taking a course to say that I did a certification. When you take this course, this is going to be a course that you can take back to your superiors and say, listen, we need to implement this, this, and this, and this is how we can work together to ensure that we, at the end of the day, are able to mitigate any future incidences that may occur in our system. And that goes back to your policies. So for us, we would like, therefore, to thank you for listening for us for the last 40, 43, 44 minutes. We have the cyber people coming back online. I guess they have some questions for us. But we just wanted to get you aware of what is coming again in August 2026 in Barbados. We're still working on the hotel, the venue, but and again, there are two more podcasts coming up in relation to 2 other training sessions that are going to be given at the summit. So look forward to those. We really appreciate you coming out. Listen, if you like this channel, again, hit that thumbs up. Give us your feedback so that we can make things better for you, especially in the Caribbean.
Yes, so I'm pivoting off of your last point you made about taking that knowledge back to the organization. From your experience, what measurable impact can an organization expect to see in its overall cybersecurity posture after one of its members complete this IACIS training?
So there are a couple things that could evolve there. Point number 1, the cost of cybersecurity is going to increase to $12.4 trillion by 2027. If you have some person who is fully trained on your team, you're able to decrease that cost to you as a business. That's point number 1. Because you heard Scott said in Brazil, they got to pay a company how many thousands, millions of dollars?
$40,000 is what they contracted this private company for.
So you got to pay $40,000 to a company.
Steve and I have been on other incident response here in South Florida, and I can tell you that company spent probably that much in the initial response, the evidence collection and basic analysis. And the sad thing is that they didn't implement the recommendations that were made to them. So they're probably going to be a victim again, and they're going to pay again that kind of money. So the idea is to give people the understanding within these organizations, to give them the basic understanding, and then to work toward advanced understanding so that they can manage these threats within their own organization. And the other benefit of that is if they don't have to hire an exterior company, they get much more visibility. They know more about what's going on. They know more about the results that were found in much more detail, and they keep it internal. So unless it's like here in the United States, unless it involves specific types of information such as credit card information or medical records, things like that, there's no requirement for them to tell anyone. And many of these companies never do tell anyone because they don't meet those requirements, right? They don't have any of those type of data as being breached. So, but those companies are handling it internally, and they have much better control over the information that's collected and analyzed, and the information that's returned.
And then too is the speed, because you have to do NDAs, you gotta do contracts with these companies before they can come in. You have someone on your team, it's right there, there's no need for NDA because you already have all those policies in place and all those agreements in place for your employee. So the turnaround time is much faster. So you spend the money now to get that employee up and trained and certified, and have that employee on staff. It gives you, it reduces your time and you spending more money to bring in an outside company. I mean, Scott and I and Sean would love to come in because
That's
how we make a living.
one other thing I would mention about that is the reason that we were brought in for one of these breaches in South Florida was because they originally hired another company, and these big companies don't like to pay their employees very well, particularly. So what typically happens is you get people that are fresh out of school who have basically zero experience. They're the ones that are doing your work. So you don't get really the top of the best of the best in many of these cases. So they were very dissatisfied with the company they paid originally, and then they had us come in and do the work. But just keep that in mind as well. You're building capacity within the organization. That's a huge benefit.
This leads me, actually, I was just about to ask a question as it relates to like persons who are fresh in the industry, in the cybersecurity industry and stuff like that. They'll probably want to know, usually you're asked for Security Plus. I saw on most job applications and stuff like that, persons are asking for Security Plus. At what level is this IACIS training? Is it something like you do after Security Plus, or what is the prerequisites to doing this training? Anybody?
There's no requirement to have any of these other certifications to go to this class. And understand too, as I mentioned before, there are different team members, if you will, and they use different lingo depending on what companies or what organizations you're dealing with. But there are many people are very confused when they talk about cybersecurity as an extremely broad idea, and you have people that are responsible for monitoring for data breach, monitoring for abnormalities on the network, whether they're using special appliances or they're using software, or they're just sitting there scanning logs, which would be extremely painful. But those people, then you have the incident responders. These are the people that we'll be training in this upcoming course, this first course we're discussing now. Those are the people that are going to do the collection of the data from the machines that have been identified as possible victims of the breach, and properly collecting it. Then you'll have team, and one person can do several of these different things, but there's another group that's going to be doing the analysis, and they're going to be working in conjunction. And then after the analysis, or while the analysis is being done, data is being found, information, evidence is being found, that's being passed on to yet another group who's going to be responsible for containment and possible remediation. And then there's another group on top of that, that is the people that have to push out these remediations and then do a post-incident review to determine what do they need to do to prevent this from occurring again in the future. So that's part of that whole cycle. And each one of those parts of that cycle have different jobs related to them. So just going to one, like I mentioned before, this 2-week course is a fantastic course to have, and it's a very good one to have for your incident responders, the people that are going to go out and do the collections. But that's just a small piece in the giant puzzle, if you will. So there are the requirements, but I would say that you're not required to have anything other than the ability to have basic computer usage, that you know how to use a computer and you can pay attention, because it's going to be a hard, fast course for within.
It is going to be a very hard. Do not send someone who cannot work, because the typical day is going to be an 8-hour day of classroom, followed by dinner, and you're going to be sitting down with your peers talking about what you learned that day, and then you're going to go to a lab and you're going to practice and you have homework. It's not for the weak of
The
heart.
faint of heart.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not for the faint of heart.
Okay. So this is a question for you. Well, anyone can answer this question, because I know persons be like, okay, I am following up from young or persons who are new to the industry, because you have persons, most of my peers are persons who have transitioned from other careers, and they now come into cybersecurity and they're trying to figure out, which direction should I go. So
Their niche,
yeah.
right?
So that's why we're kind of asking these questions, so that those folks who are watching or who would rewatch the video will be able to say, well, hey, maybe this is somewhere I want to go, or this is a career, the career path within cyber that I want to take. And given the same, you have persons that are undecided, like whether or not if they should take this path, do this course, or do I do this course just to get certification, or do I do this course because it can land me to maybe that ideal position where I want to go? What would be your strongest piece of advice or compelling reason to encourage persons to, like, for example, even pre-register to get information for the course?
My suggestion would be this. This is the most fundamental course that IACIS teaches. And in my personal opinion, having trained a lot of people, potentially thousands of people now over the course of my career, the majority of the people in that cyber security field, whether they're the law enforcement side or they're in a corporate side, they should have this course because it helps them to understand the ramifications of everything else that they do. Whether they go on to be blue team members, which would be the people doing analysis of what's collected, those people should also have this course because it helps them understand how the data is collected, and where that helps them understand where they can look for evidence related to the case they're working. And to the point where I've seen where there have been some supervisory people that have come into these courses that have learned significantly about the importance of sending people to these courses. They didn't have an idea of why. So from all levels of the organization, within their cyber security division, if you will, their segment, everyone can benefit from going through the class. Obviously, the people that are going to be the incident responders on any particular incident, they're going to get the most from it, and they're going to utilize that more. But some of the fundamentals that are taught in the incident response weigh heavily into the later analysis. So as Neil mentioned, turning zeros and ones into, interpreting them as hex or as ASCII, the understanding of the difference between how Windows interacts with the data versus how the computer itself, its components interact with the data. All of those things have a benefit to the people that later on go on to do computer forensics or device forensics, if you will, in general, whether it's network, workstations, or mobile devices. They all can benefit from it.
Great stuff. I'll point this next question to Neil. This is more so for what person should expect after they pre-register. Can you give us some more details in the near future? What's going to happen?
Sure. If you pre-register, we're going to take that data and we're going to send it up to IACIS so that they can determine let me back up a little bit. So for law enforcement, there's no requirement for a background check. But for persons who are not law enforcement corporate, IACIS is mandated to do a background check. It's not to say that you're a bad person or not, but it's just for their verification process. So once they verify, that data that we're collecting from the pre-registration is ready to send to them, especially if you're not law enforcement, to say, okay, yes, this person is clear to attend the course. And once that is confirmed, along with the confirmation from the hotel, because we're still working with the hotel, and one of the reasons why we're doing this now is because we need to make sure that at the given day and time that we launch, that we have those seats filled. Because to bring IACIS to the Caribbean is a pretty hefty cost. And it's not only the training, but they have to procure equipment, because each student is going to be receiving a laptop with the course materials, with the software, the open source software that will be used during the training, and that is for you to keep. So all these logistics have to be put in place. So the pre-registration basically is to give us that ability to say, okay, we have 20, 30, 40 seats, so that we can confirm with the hotel, okay, we need a room with 30 for 30 students, 5 instructors, whatever the case may be. And then once we have that data, again, that data will be secure, so you don't have to worry. There's not a marketing, it will not be a marketing material spamming your inbox. But we would then be able to confirm, and once we confirm, then we'll be able to tell you, okay, the courses cost this amount of money, this is what you're going to be getting, and it gives you a full breakdown of the course as well after you pre-register.
Okay, good. And this, because we mentioned that this is going to be at the Caribbean Digital Forensics and Cybersecurity Summit in Barbados, it's not limited to just persons in Barbados, correct? Can you give us some insight?
This is capacity building for the entire Caribbean, from north to south, east to west. So anybody from anywhere in the world could attend. You're not even only limited to the Caribbean. So anywhere in the world, and you want to come to Barbados to the summit and do the training as well, we welcome you, because it's capacity building. You see, we believe in building capacity worldwide to help defeat these threats and cybersecurity instances. It doesn't take one person. It takes a community. And that community is not only the Caribbean community, but the worldwide community. And that is why we're so happy that this is able to come to the Caribbean, because again, IACIS, they have their courses in Orlando every May, I think it is, with their summit or their conference.
Yes, April into May, yep.
April into May. But it's hard for some Caribbean persons to travel to the US. So bringing them to the Caribbean, bringing this and putting it in the Caribbean, it gives more opportunity for Caribbean people to come and learn and experience. So we welcome anybody.
Great. All right. I would now like to open the floor. Any parting remarks from any of our fine guests?
Yeah, so just so you know, IACIS has a 2-week training in Orlando, traditionally, but they've recently had the 2-week training in Australia, and we have a European event. IACIS has a European event, 2-week training in Europe. So there's going to be people, especially from the US, I imagine, who want to get into this cyber incident forensic response and those other 2 classes. Well, I'm really looking forward to getting down to Barbados, and hopefully I'll be free, because I'm going to take this one class already. I've taken most of them. I've taken most of them from IACIS, but this class in particular, CIFR, would be a great experience.
Okay, great.
Anything? So for me, I thank you. I thank you, Cyber People, for putting this together. I thank for those who are listening, for those who want to watch afterwards. We encourage you to listen more, be more aware of your cybersecurity and your surroundings. Just say how you protect your own personal surroundings and host every day that you leave. Do the same for cyber. Do the same for your devices. Do the same for your network, your personal network, because we are all vulnerable at some point in time in life. And I would really like to end with that.
Neil, one more thing before you end.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're going to put in the comments for the YouTube, the podcast, where they can find out more information. If they're interested, how they can find out more details about how to register and so forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, be able to find all of that information. To learn more about what the course is, what are the components that makes up the course, what is involved, all of that information is in the description, as well as the pre-registration link. Now, when you complete the pre-registration link and you submit it, we'll then follow up with communication for the actual registration with all the fine details and stuff like that. I want to thank you guys once again for taking the opportunity, taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us for this this podcast, this live session. Our next live session is on the 15th. We'll be touching another one of the IACIS training programs. So yes, you can clear your schedule if you're here now, or if you're watching this on the replay. Apart from that, I want to thank you very much for just spending the time with us, and we'll see you on the 15th.
Sounds good. Take care, everyone.
See you then.
All right, thank you, guys. Blessings.
Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. The TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know. This is the TCP radio show. Hey, the cyber people are on the air. For digital safety, we're showing you where. Cybersecurity starts with cyber sense, it's key. Join the conversation, come learn with me. TCP radio show, let's go. Knowledge and answers, watch them grow. Hear what you need from those who know.